Hello, everybody. Today, I had a few things I want to talk about. Usually, when I slap on the camera, all right, you can't slap on the camera, so I guess that didn't make no sense. But usually, when I turn on the camera, I usually, I usually just kind of turn the camera on because I feel like talking, but I really do not have specifically something I'm going to talk about like already in my mind. I guess I'm a kind of a freestyling kind of guy. You know, I like to freestyle. I just go off of what's ever on my heart or whatever I just am feeling at the moment. But and there are some times where I will talk about something that I've thought about before, but it's just most of the time I don't do that. But today I was thinking about something, and I was driving around, and I was thinking about the leaf season that's up on us right now. Like I said, everybody's at different places, different trees. Leaves fall at different times. But as you can see from this neighborhood I'm in, there's leaves everywhere, and I don't want to say it wrong, but I think that it's about maybe the 13th or 14th today, something like that. It's Sunday. So we're like mid-October. There's a lot of places that leaves haven't fell as much as here. But what thought came to my mind today was the way I kind of extend my season. And I've talked about this briefly before, but I'm gonna talk about it in a different light today. Basically, what I do when I'm doing lawn care, what I try to do is I want to extend my lawn care season. Up here, we start cutting grass at say mid-April most of the time. There's been times where you had to go out at the beginning of April because it's 70 degrees and it's raining like crazy and it's just growing. The grass is just growing. So you have had times like that. You've had times where it's been cold all the way through April, and it snowed in April up here. Like I said, I'm in Northwest Ohio. This is actually one of the properties I do right here. We came last week, and if you see it, all the leaves are on the curb, just leaves everywhere. There's a lot of leaves there. So back to what I was saying. Yeah, so up here, Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan, this area, we usually start getting cold in October. We do. I mean, like maybe a week ago, I mean, it was like 80 degrees, and then now look at my thing, it's 50. And it's not like, oh, it's just 50 today. It was 50 yesterday. It was like 40 something the day before. So it starts to get cold, and the grass obviously starts to slow down growing dramatically, if not stop. I do still have a couple more lawns to do that are long from last week, and I'll probably go out honestly maybe 2 more times for lawn care, and then I'll kind of shift over. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, how to extend your season. We start out in like I said, mid-April on the average. Like I said, there has been times we had to start as late as May because simply it just was too cold in April and the grass wasn't growing at all. So when October comes, what I do, depending on the customer, there's no just one way of doing it, but depending on the customer, what I try to do, if I'm coming out and I'm servicing somebody's property and I'm servicing it for, let's say, $40 or $50 a week, what I try to do is tell them, hey, just let me keep coming, and what I'll do is I'll get the leaves out to the curb for you. In our city, and you can put leaves on the curb, and then they have pickup dates. And I try to tell people, hey, let me come out just like as I'm doing the lawn, but I'll just be, either blowing the leaves to the curb, or I'll be, we'll use a little, grass catcher bag or whatever, and we'll take it and put it on the curb like that. I mean, whatever, just get them out your yard, you know. Because what I've noticed for me, everybody's system is different. I'm not speaking for everybody, by no means. But for me, it's easier to come once a week than to just come out one time and do just a big ton of leaves, you know, that might have failed from the beginning of October, you know, even sometime late September, all the way into, you know, December 1st. You know what I mean? That's a lot of leaves, especially in like a neighborhood like this. Look at these trees. I mean, these trees are huge. They got tons of leaves. They're big leaves. So what I've learned is to extend your season. So a lot of people's season kind of drops off, and then they just sit around and they wait for customers to call, and they just kind of go out and do big one leaf cleanups. You know, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because it's not a bad thing. But for me, this works better for me tremendously, because when I get out and do it, it's just not as much to do. You know, it's not as hard to do. You know, and then I have no problem charging somebody, you know, $50 to take care of some leaves I took care of last week, and you know, not many more fail. And sometimes you'll get a lot fall in one week, but then the next week you'll be fine. It will even out to where you're not killing yourself. You know, you're not filling up your bag too much. But you know, like I said, I think for me it's the best. And what it does is it extends the season up here all the way from April all the way into about December. That's about it, you know. And it's still some leaves, but usually around December, then that's when, you know, sometime in December it starts to snow up here, you know, or it starts to get so cold and most there not many leaves on the ground, or it's so cold you don't really want to be out doing anything, you know, but snow, to be honest. You know, like it just changes. It's not really, the leaves get wet, you know. So that's about, you can extend your season when you're up, you know, and we're pretty much in the Midwest, you know, by using that strategy. And I think that it's great. I mean, I really do. Some people, I'm pretty sure, would disagree with me because of whatever reason, but I've done it the other way too. I went out and just done leaves and had to do, you know, a whole lot of leaves, and you know, somebody wants to give you $150, $200, whatever, and you know, I could have been coming to do their leaves from the beginning of October, you know, and all of November, which is 2 months, charging $50 each time. You know, you can obviously even make a little bit more money. You know what I mean? Obviously you drive a little bit more because you have to go out there once a week, but it just kind of extends your lawn care season. It makes you feel like, hey, my lawn care season is a little bit longer. You know, and I try to, and then also I think it's easier for people to feel like, hey, I'll give you $50 or $40 versus saying I'll give you, you know, $250, $275 or whatever to just do my leaves. It's easier for a person to come off. Just like anything, when you buy a car, it's easier to make payments. You know, if you don't have enough money to buy the, you know, purchase the whole car cash, it's easier to make payments than to